Good day, my friends. This is the Bitty Strong podcast with Alyssa Ritchey. Today's special guest is the love of my life, my biggest supporter, and my best friend, Benjamin Irvine. Welcome to the podcast, Benjamin.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Oh my God.
In my own home.
You're cool. God, I'm lucky. So Ben, tell us who you are and what you do, because we all know you're not an elite athlete. That was awesome.
I'm a critical care registered nurse of 6 years, and I'm currently in nurse anesthesia school, attending the best nurse anesthesia program in the country, University of Akron. Fear the Roo. Whoop whoop.
Oh my God.
Do my clinicals at Toledo Hospital. We moved from Colorado back to Toledo so I could go to school.
Yep.
And just an all-around awesome guy. Pretty much everyone loves me a little bit more than Alyssa.
Wow. So that's true, though. That's really true, because every time I get friends, I feel like everybody loves Ben more. It's kind of like my parents growing up. I always had my friends come over and they would love my parents more than they would love me. So that's okay. I'm used to it.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
I'm not.
You're a good person.
I know. So Ben and I met at a bar through my sister and his friends. They were in like the same friend group, I guess you could say. And it was quite funny because Ben walked in. I hadn't met Ben yet. I met all the other guys, but Ben walked in, and he walked in hiking boots and a flannel with a backwards hat, an earring, and long hair. And he walked in, and I was like, man, who is this guy? Is he going on a hike in Ohio? Like, who is this guy?
You obviously have no taste in fashion or idea of...
I don't, so I'm not even going to lie. I suck at fashion. So when I met Ben, he automatically... He knew who I was. I was Abby's sister, and that's who drugged me into the bar that night, because I clearly did not want to go. I had training the next day, and that was my most important task in my life at that moment, and still is, actually, minus I love you too, don't worry. Some days. Anyways, so I met Ben. I was talking to one of my friends, and Ben tried to come in and swoop a hand in to meet me, and I turned away because I was like, I do not want to meet anybody at this point in my life. I'm happy with being single. I'm happy with being myself and who I am. I'm comfortable. And Ben swooped in again after I got done talking to my best friend, or one of my friends from high school.
Never give up at people. Persistence.
And he swooped in and he talked to me, and we held a really good conversation. We talked about like hiking, and what his ambitions were, his goals. He wanted to become, he was what were you? You were a nurse for 2 years, right?
ICU, yeah.
Yeah, so he was ICU nurse when we met, and I realized that this guy can hold conversation, and he's really nice, and he's actually very intelligent, and I had not met a guy like that in the 4 years I was single, so I was really happy to have run into Ben, and that's when we kind of first started talking to each other, and that's how we hit it off. So it was good.
Yep.
It's weird because I don't drink and Ben doesn't go out to bars, so the fact that we met in a bar was like the most funny part of our relationship, because that's never where you would guess where we both met, so it's pretty hilarious when I tell that story. People are like, what? So today we're just going to talk about the topic of how Ben deals with living with me, but more importantly, how a person...
I could write a book on this.
Oh my God. It's true.
Might take me a while to write, though.
Okay.
Max and Chad can help me.
Oh my gosh. Max doesn't know anything.
Yeah, but he wrote a book.
That's true. Max did write a book. Okay, so today we're just going to basically talk about the topic of living with an athlete. and what you get to experience. And I wanted to talk to the firsthand man through all my experiences and through all my weirdness and sad days and crying days or really happy days and great experiences. And I want to talk to everybody and share kind of like what that is like. Because I think a lot of people think it's like the most glorious thing in the world. And at times it can be, but at other times it definitely isn't.
Yep, you always got the front row ticket, regardless if you want it or not. Even the days when you want the back row.
Yeah, you definitely do not, always get the glory and the glam. Some days you just have to deal with my little attitude, and I'm sorry about that.
Little is an understatement.
Yeah, that's true. Little is an understatement.
You're like a Tasmanian devil in a cage.
I'm not. So,
ferocious.
Oh God. Okay, that's true. Some days I come in and I'm about to tear the world apart, and then there's other days where I'm like, I love everything, and then there's days where I'm like, hate everything, and then love everything in one day. So the first question I kind of want to throw out there is, how do you deal with all my travel? Like when I'm gone or when I'm getting ready to travel and I'm traveling for 3 weeks at a period of time, or if I'm just gone for a few days, like how do you deal with that? Like just kind of tell people like what goes on, like from the beginning of a relationship to how it's changed now.
Sure. So in the beginning, it was a little more challenging because we had just met, and I was trying to establish a good foundation for our relationship. And Alyssa was traveling, especially for grid, gone 3 months at a time. So that was a little more difficult, and we weren't talking on the phone maybe once or twice a week, and I was expecting maybe a little more communication. So
that's my fault. I get really in tune with what I'm doing, and I do what I do. Yep. So,
but as our relationship went on, we established a better foundation, more trust, and I kind of just learned that Alyssa does best when she's out traveling, doing a seminar at a competition, just to basically just not contact her at all until she contacts you. And honestly, that was my secret. So I would say drop her off at the airport, say bye. And if Alyssa was gone for a week, probably the first 3 or 4 days, I would not hear from her. I wouldn't text her, wouldn't get a text. And then like that 4th or 5th day, she'd call and be like, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing?"
I just like have something to talk about like every day. Like I just I love you, but like at the same time, I'm like so in tune with my training and stuff that I'm such a like headstrong person. I guess I get really I dive deep into what I'm doing.
Yep.
I get really focused, and when I'm focused, I work for like if I'm doing a new project, I want to get that project done in like 9 hours, and I'll sit there until it's done. I'm not the kind of person to take breaks. So like when I leave for like these training camps and stuff behind, like leave Ben and Kenny behind. Kenny's our dog. I just focus on that at the moment. I don't really think about anything else. I know it sounds selfish, but that's just what I do.
Yeah, I think I think it's important in life in a relationship, 2 people, to have their own hobbies or passion or things going on in life. It's okay to spend time apart from each other. You don't have to talk to each other every day. When I'm at the hospital for 16 or 18 hours, I'm not sitting there on my phone trying to get a hold of Alyssa or text her, and she's not doing the same for me because she knows where I'm at and I'm busy and I'm not available. So it doesn't mean that, you don't love someone or care about them or want to talk to them. It's just you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, but we do care about each other because we respect each other in the fact that we know that we're working hard at our goals. So we're giving each other room to, to make those goals come true.
Yep.
And to,
So it's actually nice to get a little break from each other every now and then and kind of do your thing. And then it's even better when she comes home because, we had that distance between us. And, when you come home, it's good to see you and, all that stuff. So.
Thanks, Benjamin.
For the brief moment, then when she walks in the door and it looks like a hurricane disaster area, like 72 hours after the hurricane hit, there's just like stuff everywhere. The suitcase is like right in the front room where the door is. It's open. And I can tell where Alyssa's been because there's like a trail of like stuff.
Okay, this
like
is
in the house.
This is over exaggerated.
No,
like it's
no,
like
not. This is the real deal here.
No, so I come in and I put my bag down and I open it, and as he's not home, so every morning I wake up, I feel like I have to do dishes, or I know Ben's gonna wake up and he's going to scold me until I do them, and he'll ask these like simple questions like, so what did you just eat? Where did you put that dish? Shouldn't you put it in the dishwasher because we have to start the dishwasher? He asks really nice, subtle questions to make me do the stuff versus just being like, hey, will you just put your dishes in the dishwasher? Because he knows I'll ream his... I'll choke him out.
Everyone knows the dishes go in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the topic. We're talking about travel, right?
Yeah.
Was there any more about the travel that we needed to talk about?
I guess, there's something I was going to bring up, like the North Carolina. We were supposed to go to North Carolina this week to stay in a cabin and a mountain bike, walk Kenny, and go on little hikes.
Little fly fishing.
Yeah, little day hikes, fly fishing. I didn't know we were going to fly fish.
I was going to.
All right. We were going to do that this week, and what happened was we had just gotten back from Toronto a week ago?
I can't remember.
Whatever. It was like a week.
It was Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend, and then a week went by, and then the next week we were supposed to go to North Carolina. And what ended up happening is I came back from Toronto, ate a lot of food, like really obscene amounts, and just food that I just normally don't put in my stomach, and I could feel myself in training lagging behind. I could feel my body was moving slow. I was feeling gross, and I felt weak and just out of tune with my normal feels during training. And that's when I started kind of panicking, and I asked Max, I said, hey, we're going to go to North Carolina next week. Is that okay? And Max was like, yeah, that's fine, but you're going to have to do double the amount of workload. And I was like, oh, man, frick. I'm going to do double the amount of workload. And Max already said it's going to be the hardest training cycle I've ever done. So I was like, all right, well, we need to rethink this North Carolina trip. And that's when me and Ben walked the dog the next morning, which we usually do together. And I said, Ben, honestly, I think this North Carolina trip is not a good idea. And this is like 2 days before we were going to leave, or 3 days. Yeah. And Ben was like, why? And I was like, because my training's going to suffer, and I only have one chance to make the Olympic team, and I really want to make it, and I think the most important thing for me now is to sacrifice things like this in order to make the 2020 Olympic team. Yep. And Ben is not exactly doing nothing either. He is doing a huge task too, as in he's trying to graduate from CRNA school to become a nurse anesthetist, and I think that with the goals that we have in mind, and the reason why we moved here together is to accomplish those goals. Yeah, and to make those goals come true, or to make those dreams come true. So that's our main focus. So we decided to cancel the trip, and now we're home, and we're just enjoying each other's company this week. And Ben picked up some shifts at the hospital, so that's kind of the stuff that the limitations and activities that we have to, I guess, do. We have to limit our activities in order to succeed in the goals that we have.
Yeah, I'd say it's more of a decision, that we made on our part. Like you got to prioritize things in your life. Yeah. I mean, if you want to achieve big goals, like make 2020 Tokyo team or graduate from nurse anesthesia school, you have to sacrifice things.
For sure.
You got to put the hard work in. Nothing worthwhile in life's ever easy. You can't just be cruising around taking vacations. Sometimes you need to,
Sure. Like it's the same thing like with Oak Openings yesterday. Oak Openings is a metro park that's near us, and Ben's like, you want to go another 30 minutes? And I'm like, how long will that add on to the trip? And it's like an hour and 30-minute walk then. And he's like, well, we can keep going just for the hour walk. And I was like, oh no, I think I'm fine. In all reality, I was not fine. I was almost dying. And this, all we're doing is walking on flat ground, and I am like suffering. So stuff like that is like, I need to understand that we need to cut things short, or I need to bring more food, or I need to understand that on a rest day I need to actually rest. So that's the kind of limitations.
Yep. Alyssa resting on a rest day never happens. It's impossible for her.
What? Okay.
She's getting better.
Well, you know what? I do rest on a rest day now. I tried my hardest to rest on a rest day. It doesn't always work. Don't comment on that.
What's the next question?
Tell us more about when I'm cutting weight or I am working on my nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, mostly like when I'm cutting weight. Yep. What are you eating? What is your nutrition like?
We pretty much, when Alyssa's cutting weight, I'm eating pretty much similar foods to what she's eating. Pretty, I wouldn't say necessarily plain, but I mean, it is pretty straightforward. I mean, we're eating chicken, grilled chicken or trifecta, chicken, salmon. Last cycle, we did a lot more bison and steak.
Red meats.
Max's recommendation, which I think worked well for Alyssa.
It was really good. Increase in iron, increase in all those like little.
Yep, your vitamins and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, then just rice, sweet potatoes, and then some type of broccoli or Brussels sprouts or a salad or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
I hate salads.
Not a bunch of sauces or casseroles or. I know you hate salads, but
I don't eat them.
They're good for you.
I don't eat them all the time though. No, I don't.
Whatever. Anyways, we pretty much, eat the same things. It's not like I'm eating like a, enchiladas while Alyssa's eating like egg whites and, sweet potatoes for dinner. So, but even before Alyssa got into weightlifting, I was raised, by two athletic parents that were both nurses. So even from the very, very young age, I had good eating habits, lots of vegetables and good foods. And when I met Alyssa, I think some of Alyssa's eating habits were reevaluated. Along the way.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Here's the deal. Why? It's because Alyssa grew up on margarine and Little Debbie's. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom. I'm kidding. We grew up on such a different eating. Yeah. I don't know what. Let's just say we grew up on the government food pyramid.
But
typical.
But it's like when you're on cut 1, 2, and 3, like for RP, like that's what I've been eating my whole life.
Yeah, I know. Well, I haven't, and I'm not.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So it's not difficult for me, but I think it's important, like for me to support you, as as an athlete, and you're seeing that as your profession, that's your career, and me being your your significant other, I can help you, better with your nutrition by supporting you, by eating with you, eating the same things. Whereas if I were to say like, oh, I'm going to get a pizza tonight and I'm having burgers tomorrow, and
so hard.
and you're sitting there like on cut 3 watching me eat that stuff, like how difficult would that make it for you?
I mean, honestly, if I was on cut 2, it'd be difficult, but cut 3, I'm so close to competition, nothing could beat me.
I know, but it's just the concept. If somebody out there is listening and they have a spouse or significant other
trying to lose weight,
you're trying to lose weight or get healthier, get in better shape, like. If you do it together, it's so much easier.
So much easier.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough.
And then after you do that for several weeks, several months, it just becomes habit then. And then, you don't crave the pizza, you don't crave the burger. You have it every now and then, but I think more often we're craving the vegetables and the healthy food. Oh,
for sure.
Your body gets used to eating
absolutely,
that, and you function better.
So much better. And the thing is like, you just do feel better. After we got back from Toronto and eating all those different foods, both of us felt so sick for like a good week, and we just felt so bloated and chub. I just did not feel good.
You ate a lot of cookies.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't eat a single cookie.
Josh, Kat?
Okay, don't ask our neighbors. Don't bring them into this. Josh and Kat, don't even comment on this.
Anyways, but yeah, when we got home from Toronto, I think we both wanted to eat clean for.
Yeah.
We ate decently healthy up there. I mean, we had a few
Yeah, I mean, I had some donuts and ice cream. You didn't. Like, I always am the bad one in the situation. Like, that's the problem. I am the problem, which is fine. I accept it. I do not do it all the time, though.
No.
That was like a sporadic kind of thing. We just want to experience the city, and we knew that the food would be absolutely incredible in Toronto.
We ate some semi-healthy, though, too.
Oh, yeah. I think we ate
wasn't
very
too
healthy because our neighbor is allergic to everything. No, I'm just kidding, Kat. I love you. But she is. She's allergic to literally everything. She was doing this Candida diet, and we had to stick to like no corn, everything. So no vegetable oils, corn products, no, basically nothing bad for you, which was incredible because we chose some incredible restaurants.
Yeah, it kind of kept us.
It kept us grounded too.
Yep.
Yeah. So when I'm going through a weight cut, Ben's kind of on the same train as me. He eats more. He eats the same foods though, which I appreciate, and I thank him every day because honestly, I couldn't do it without him. He definitely is my number one support system, especially because, well, we live together and it would be really hard. Like he said, if he brought home a pizza, I could not control myself. I mean, I could, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's a good one, and everyone's going to love this question. When I get upset or frustrated from training, and I bring that home, that attitude home with me, how do you deal with that, like, inside? Like, do you shut off, or do you walk away, or how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the situation. Every situation sometimes calls for a different response. Let's see. It just depends. If I've seen like if Alyssa's been like training like terrible for like weeks or months at a time, like there might be something like underlying bothering her like in her life besides, maybe like a bad technique or, I don't know, something like that. It just depends. Sometimes
a good example, for example, the last time I was training in the training cycle, I was doing my openers. I was lifting my openers for Pan Ams.
I remember, yeah.
And I had to hit 78 and 98 for my clean and jerk. 78 for snatch, 98 for clean and jerk. And you came in to watch my snatch, and it was not going well. I was missing lifts. I was out of tune, out of whack. I was just doing everything wrong, and I started getting very frustrated, very upset, and then I kind of brought it home afterwards saying, like, I don't know how Pan Am's is going to go, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit my opener at 78. I think Max and me might have to lower it. I just was very unsure and pretty upset about it.
So that particular day, if I remember correctly, Alyssa, I've heard you say this several times. That was probably one of your best training cycles. Max had changed your programming quite a bit.
Yep.
And I'm not like your training partner per se, but we do work out a lot together.
Yeah. I would say you're a training
at the
partner.
Gym. And I,
not really.
Out of all the training cycles, all the competition preps that you've done, this particular one, I could visibly see like you get so much better as a technique wise, even stronger. The weights you were doing, the confidence level, I could visibly like see it more than any other competition prep. So in the back of my mind, I felt like the issue with you at that particular time was that you just needed somebody to kind of reassure you that you've put the hard work in and the time in and like you've done everything correctly. And I don't know, maybe that day, I think you had a really hard week that week or something.
It was the second week back from camp. So
so you went to camp and Max completely just crushed you. You guys were finishing the end of a training cycle, 16 weeks. You were getting tired. You were getting sore. You were tired from traveling.
We had hit some huge numbers the first week. I mean, I PR'd everything.
Did you do taxes the day before or something?
Yeah,
I did. I don't know.
I did. I did my taxes April 15th.
But I think the response, like when you came home, you were super upset and everything. And I was just like, Alyssa, like, look at the big picture here. Like, you've had the best training cycle that you've ever had. You've gotten so much better technique-wise as a lifter. You've gotten so much stronger. Like you look more confident. You look like a different lifter. Like you looked honestly like you went from like, somebody that could, get like 6th or 7th at Pan Am's to somebody that
could win it,
sweep gold at Pan Am's. Like now to like you elevated your game, and I think I said some of those things to you, and I think like a little light bulb went off in the back of your head. Like, you know what, you're right. Like those things are true. Like I have done the work, I've put in the time,
right.
And I mean, I guess you can speak, to that, how you felt after, I kind of reassured you a little bit on like your progress and how you've.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you come home with an attitude or you are upset about some of your training, I think there's a point where you can't bring it home anymore because that is going to affect your relationship. And we definitely saw that in CrossFit. And that was one of the reasons why I actually stopped CrossFitting is because I constantly came home exhausted. I was tired and I was angry and my training was always frustrating me. I just felt like I was training on empty every day. And Ben finally gave me his input and said, like, listen, you need to make a choice.
Yeah, that's like a totally different scenario. Like at the end of your kind of CrossFit, endeavor, coming home all the time, frustrated, training for, 6 hours a day, being burned out, like, kind of a little tension between us sometimes because you were
because of the training, not because of CrossFit.
Not because of CrossFit,
but because my diet was off.
Yeah,
my training was a lot.
Yep. Yeah, I mean your entire life was being negatively affected by what was going on. When you come home from those days, that's a different. That happened over like a long period of time. Like that was like a month.
At least, 3 months.
At least,
if not the whole year.
And finally,
my last year CrossFitting.
And finally, I don't know what it was, what happened, but like I was like, listen, Alyssa, like, what is going on in your life right now? Like, look at everything that's happening. Like, why are you so stressed out? Why are you unhappy?
Yeah.
Why is your nutrition off? Or, why we live in Colorado? Why aren't we doing anything, going to the mountains as much? Like, are you having fun going to the gym? You used to love going to the gym.
Right.
Now you're like dreading it. You're getting injured more often. Like, there's lots of things happening. Like, I think it all revolved around, when you initially started training, that was your love. You loved to train. It made you happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like who I was. It's literally a part of my identity. It's just being a hard worker, like loving the gym. My whole life, I've never had to have motivation to go to the gym. I just always loved it.
Yeah.
But my point is like just to say like a little ending for this question is basically like if you don't have the support from your significant other in your dreams or what you set out to be, whether you want to be an elite athlete or a certified nurse anesthetist, like this, it's going to be extremely, extremely hard to try to make those dreams come true because sometimes without the support, it's a rocky road at home, and it starts making you question like if you're doing the right thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a significant other that's seeing their spouse or girlfriend go through things, and you can like see it from an objective standpoint. You're not like emotionally involved in the situation. Like I can see what's happening, and as a spouse or significant other, your response to what's happening with their training can like make or break their day or their week or their month. Like, so it's really important. You need to you can't be too careless about like what you say to like somebody that's going through like a training cycle like that, and they're prepping for like this huge competition.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that can totally screw with your head and your mindset and stuff like that. So it's important to, kind of take a step back and like think before you say something, because, Alyssa's like upset, like think about what you're going to say first. Think about what she's going through, where they're at in the training cycle, like why is she upset, and then kind of gauge your response.
Yeah, and most of the time I come in to, as much as you don't see it in my face and I don't say it, most of the time I do come home and I just want you to give me advice. I want you to be my support system, and you are my number one support system. So it's like you and Max are literally the people that I go to look for that support. And if I don't get it from Max, because normally it's just texting or, when I see him in person, I definitely, the biggest support system is you, and I come home and I look for that support.
Yeah.
So if you do say something wrong to me, initially I'm just going to be like, oh, okay, like I guess.
Yeah. It's a very, you have a couple of unique relationships with the coach and the athlete, but somebody that's your significant other, and you're also looking for advice or coaching from,
Yeah, you gotta kind of be.
It's a
rocky road.
That's a fine line you're walking there. So like, it's,
yeah, because sometimes you can think like, how everyone says like family will always be there. You can say kind of what you want, and you can be mad at them, but they'll always be there. So you kind of think like a significant other will be, but
right. Well, like if I gave you advice on your session this morning, and then you got a little upset at me, and then later this evening I tried to like come in for a hug or something or a kiss, and you're like get off of me, and because you're upset because I said something earlier about your session.
Yeah, but sometimes I don't want you to be my he's.
I know I'm not
like my coach.
Oh, and I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not,
you're not my coach.
And I don't try to be.
Yeah, because I don't like. No offense, but like.
And I have no. That's another thing about.
Well, right, but I'm saying like. People try to be everything for their significant other,
and that's not the right way to do
it. It's not, because I'm not going to take your advice on coaching because you don't snatch.
Right.
And you don't clean and jerk. That's like me coming in the OR and being like, Ben, this is how you put a laryngoscopy down the neck. Is that even the right word?
No.
What's the right word?
It's not even the right way to use.
Oh, it's fine. We're going to pretend it was.
Oral endotracheal tube.
Okay, it's like being like, Ben, this is how you insert an oral endotracheal tube into someone's...
With a laryngoscope.
With a laryngoscope, okay.
Anyways, but one thing, like, I think that does cross over a lot between what I do and what you do is, like, mindset.
For sure.
And, like, that would be something more... Like, if I see you, like, in the gym... and you're having a crappy day, and like maybe you're on Instagram or something in between your sets, it's like, are you, like you said a couple weeks ago, you talked about flow state, like you're getting your best athletic training and performance when you're in the state of flow. And like, can you really be in a state of flow if you're checking somebody else's Instagram in between your sets?
And that's the next question I wanted to ask. Definitely agree with that, because that's something we definitely switched. Let's just discuss social media in an athlete's life or in my day-to-day life. A lot of athletes these days have sponsorships, and they have to meet their sponsors' requirements during, for what the sponsors want them to put out there and promote. And this brings a lot of stress to the athlete. This can affect the athlete's training session. This can affect their time just to relax and chill and meditate, or just have nothing on their mind, or spend time with their significant other, or spend time with their family. This does take a lot of time up in our days, but we also know that this is a part of the sponsorship. So we take it on knowing that we have to do this. And can you just elaborate on this topic?
Sure.
And just talk about kind of like the one time when we...
Well,
I just want to talk about the time when we were in the kitchen and I had...
When you ruined my shirt?
Yep, I did ruin his shirt. My mascara somehow always gets on his white shirts. I don't think there's any on this one that you're wearing right now. But, yeah, so I always ruin his shirts. Anyways, so can you kind of elaborate on that topic? Kind of just tell us what happened. And after the training cycle, I kind of walked, or after the training day, I kind of walked into the house. And that's
well, yeah, I mean, this was early on in your transition from CrossFit to weightlifting. You immediately saw a lot of success with your CrossFit, gymnastics, a little bit of weightlifting background. Then, you're working with Juggernaut and Max. I mean, it's just a recipe for success, basically, and you kind of shot up to a high level very quickly. In CrossFit, you had a couple sponsors, I think, but
I had Chad, I had Juggernaut, but literally that's it.
But now all of a sudden you've got a couple bigger sponsors, and like people are, supporting you financially a little bit, and you're starting to you're like, whoa, like I can I can make my dream a reality as far as, you know, being a professional athlete, basically. You know, like you can make a living.
Yeah.
You know,
because that's like about the time.
I mean, you're not driving a Tesla, but
okay, well, I will be once I break that world record and Max is screwed.
No, but still, like you're making a living.
Well, I wanted to capitalize on the situation. Yeah. My dream was always to be an athlete. That didn't work.
Yep. So with those sponsorships that you got, you know, you had those requirements to make posts and advertise and reach out to your, you know, engage with your followers and stuff like that. And I think it was like when we had just moved in, or
yeah,
we moved in the winter, and then I think it was that summer, the first summer that we lived here. Like for 3 or 4 months, I think your training like was just not good.
It started going down, declined. Like something was going on, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was like when I walked into the gym, I felt so unfocused. I felt like my mind was running 500 miles per hour, and it wasn't about my training. And I was really clueless to the fact of what it was. So Ben kind of
I picked up on it quickly. I mean, it was easy to see what the problem was, but sometimes you gotta let people figure out things for themselves. But Alyssa, unfortunately, continued to like struggle and.
But tell them like what the talk was.
Yeah, like, no, sure. I mean, I think it was a while though. It was like 3 months that I finally like you like. I don't know what happened. I think you were in the garage.
I was in the garage. I came in and the training session was terrible.
Yeah.
I walked inside and I immediately picked up my phone. It was like it was like a nothing. I didn't even think about it. I just picked up my phone, started looking at my phone, and Ben's like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. And I was like, "I don't know. My training session went horrible." And I was just like, I'm done. Like,
so from my perspective, what I could tell was that all the success that Alyssa's had in weightlifting in a very, very short amount of time, which is from probably a very rare thing in weightlifting,
or in any sport.
In any sport, sure, was from her performance, from the training, from the weightlifting on the stage. It wasn't because she's really good at posting things on Instagram. It wasn't because she can make people laugh or she can get followers or, you know, she had this sponsor or that. But she was spending so much time on her phone, doing these posts and like she was trying to build her success through social media
versus through my training and successes on the stage.
And my point of view and what I told her was like, you know, like the most important thing in your life, what's gotten you to where you are right now in such a short period of time, is your training, is your lifting, their performance on the stage. Has nothing to do with social media.
Right.
If anything, social media was it was actually getting in the way of what you were doing. All the success that you had was like, you know, I thought it was starting to like slip away.
Yeah.
Like you were almost like you were delusional to the point where you thought social media was going to make you successful. And I mean, it's important.
It's true.
It does make you successful to a point, and you have the sponsors, and you need to post for them and stuff like that. But you know, there needs to be a balance. Like, you know, I mean, 95% of your time, effort, and resources is going to training, and like 5% is going to social media and, you know, posts and stuff. I mean, and that's just my perspective.
Right. I mean, I definitely think 15%.
But I think when
maybe 10%.
I think in the kitchen that day, like when I kind of told you that from my perspective, I think you.
Oh, I completely broke down.
Well, you broke down. You ruined my shirt. Your
I knew that what you were saying was 100% true. I knew
if it was like almost like a weight was lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah, right? I felt like something was bearing on my shoulders. And as soon as he said that, it like I just had a complete meltdown, and I was just like, wow, this is like. Afterwards, I felt like somebody lifted a probably 500-pound dumbbell, because I'm pretty strong, a 500-pound dumbbell off my shoulders, and it was like the best feeling ever. And from that moment on, I made some huge changes in my way I approach and manage my social media stuff. The first thing that I did was I basically took 2 weeks hiatus from social media.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get on it. I think I just deleted the app actually and just took it off my phone. I needed the break. and that helped a lot. That helped clear my mind. I also do not look at social media during my training. If you see me posting my warm up or a set, that's usually like after my training session or right before I start training. I like to make sure that I'm not watching other people's videos because I am very a visual learner, and that stuff can actually affect me, I feel, because I watch them. Sometimes I can watch people miss, and sometimes I might take on what they do. But it helps me focus not to look at my phone during training session. I also made a schedule for when I will post for each sponsor.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm sorry. Ben, he's giving me a smirking smile right now. Ben made me a schedule.
I was going to let it go.
Yeah, right?
I was.
Ben made me a schedule of like exactly which sponsors I'm going to post which days of the week, and that really helped me to organize and to go in the morning. I'll wake up. First thing I do is I will read a book. This is just recently been happening, kind of. I read a book. I'll make a coffee, read a book, and then I'll spend like maybe 15, 30 minutes on a sponsor post and post right away. That way my sponsors, it works for everybody. The last thing I did, which is probably one of the most important things, I think, I unfollowed the unnecessary people on social media. The people that are like Instagram models that have no reason to be in my life. I don't need to see your six-pack every freaking day. I don't need to see your plastic surgery on your face. I do not need to see your cute outfit. Like, yes, it's cute. Yes, you're pretty. Yes, you have a great body, but it's not benefiting my life. And to anybody out there that's listening, like, especially women, I feel like men don't do it as much. Maybe they do secretly because they're just secretly, they pretend like they're secret.
No, we don't.
Okay, whatever. But to any woman out there, listen, like I know a lot of these women that you guys look up to are amazing, but you have to understand that a lot of what you see is their highlight reels. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but that's what you see. And if every night you're going to bed wishing you looked like that woman, or you lifted like that woman, or you want to be her, like, remember, the world needs you. They need your authenticity. They need your originality. They need you. So be you and be happy with who God made you to be, because heck, I love who I am. And sometimes I think that like I need to show the world more who I am, but there's also a time that I just need to keep me secret because it's fun.
I don't know if we're ready for that yet.
Okay, I know.
No, but I think you make a good point. I think like in this day and age, I mean, social media is so prevalent in everyone's lives. Like, I think there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of good things that come from it.
Sure.
But there's also a lot of negatives, and it can be abused and overused and used in the wrong ways, like you said, to portray these kind of false lifestyles or almost excessive like lifestyles of
Sure.
people, like you said, seeing the six pack all the time and the shredded arms and all that stuff. Like, I mean, like
It's not realistic.
I mean,
it may be like there's a lot of lighting involved, and there's a lot of like good photography.
Sure.
There's a lot of angles,
Sure.
but like at the same time, you gotta like.
But also, like you said, like, who are you? Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, what going on Instagram and looking at somebody else's profile every day is not gonna make you happy.
No, absolutely not.
Maybe you get on Instagram and like you read a quote or see somebody working out and that pumps you up to go work out. Cool.
Agree.
Like look at it for like 2 minutes and then go hit the gym for an hour.
Right.
And then go home and eat a good meal, like cook some vegetables and lean meat and like some sweet potatoes, like eat a good meal, and then like go walk your dog, go read a book, go spend time with your family or significant other.
Use it to excite it, like to motivate you, but don't use it as a how do you say this, like to like direct your life, like to obsess over it completely and just keep thinking about it and obsessing over it to the point where it drives you crazy and you get so anxious about it. Like,
I mean, if I'm not.
Ben, where can people find you?
Anyways,
on social media?
I'm not on social media.
Why?
My whole thing is if I have time to get on social media, I have time to do something better, like study for anesthesia school, or
Walk the dog.
play with my dog,
Yeah.
or train, teach him new tricks,
Or snuggle.
Snuggle and cuddle, yes. Spend time with Alyssa.
He hates snuggling,
or,
FYI.
Clean the house, like
you clean the house every single morning. There's always time to clean the house for you.
Or when we used to live in Colorado, go mountain biking, go hiking, go fly fishing, call up a friend and go out.
Have real life friends.
Yeah, those are the experiences that are gonna make you happy.
Absolutely.
You're not gonna get the 6-pack, and like if you are motivated, like okay, like hey, I want to get healthy, I want to get fit, like I want to look like Marcus Philly.
You ain't gonna look like it.
No, but you can improve your life. Like he motivates you. Like look at his Instagram for 2 minutes and then go hit the gym, and like that's doing that, then making meal prepping, making vegetables and lean meats.
We know.
And drinking the water, like that's gonna make the activities to get you there. That's what's gonna make you happy, not sitting there looking at his Instagram all day.
I agree. So basically, the point is like stop making social media the main purpose of your day. Start doing other things and make real friends, not
social media is not like the end point.
Yeah,
it should
be. But also like bringing it back to our athletic. We got to keep it in the realm of what's
talking about like
like saying like if your significant other or if your girlfriend, whatever she is, wife or boyfriend or husband is an athlete, you have to also respect the fact that yes, they are going to have to spend time on that. That is what makes that's what they make their living off of. Like that's how they get their money or whatever. But they also don't have to live on it to make their money. So I basically want to just tell you guys to stop caring so much about what you post as well. Just post what you want, be who you are, and just accept the fact that you are you and you are not that girl or that guy on social media that you want to be. Just be you. So I think that can kind of take it there. But I do want to do some fire questions at you.
Okay.
These questions are the questions that I do every end of my podcast. Guess who came up with these questions? I did, but guess who gave me the idea? Benjamin. Benjamin gives me all my fantastic ideas. So if you guys ever like see a cool post and you actually like it, that's probably a Ben post.
Whoa.
Okay. So the first question is, if you could choose anyone to be your workout partner, who would it be and why?
Marcus Philly.
Oh my gosh.
I'm doing Awaken Training Series 1 right now. Love it.
Why though? Like why would you be Marcus Philly though?
I like his training.
Is it his hair? Or is it his 6-pack that you desire?
No. I like the training. I like the unilateral stuff. I like a lot of the core things. I like his idea of being built, not burned. There's his training style. It's very like intellectual the way it's built, and you're not like he talks. In his podcast, he talks a lot about like intensity and stuff like that, and how potent it is to be going like to be redlining your engine like every single day. It's not. Sure. It's not necessarily the best way to to work out. Sure. And me being in nurse anesthesia school right now, like I have enough stress in my life going to the OR and in school that I was looking for something a little different.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So anyways,
if you could
be my training partner.
Whatever. I do not want to be your training partner. He is very serious and like when he trains, and I am like goofy and jokey, but there's part of me that's serious. So when I train, I like to kind of joke around sometimes, but the right people have to be around me to joke around. Yeah. You can't be an energy sucker around me. You have to be an energy giver too. Yep. So I like those kind of people.
I like to get in there, throw a little Black Sabbath on.
Yeah, but you're like Jocko.
I like to get after it in like a short period of time and be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like to get on with my day.
Question 2.
Okay.
If you could go backpacking anywhere in the United States, where would you go?
In the lower 48 or in like all the states?
That would be the United States.
Well, like
all 52 states.
That's what I'm saying. The lower, like they all touch all the states. The lower 48. You're not talking about like Hawaii and Alaska.
That would be the United States.
Okay, so any state.
Oh my gosh. This is what I deal with.
Well, right now, I would probably say Montana.
Oh,
since my brother
gosh.
just moved there.
Give me a break. Whatever. Okay.
Or Alaska.
Okay,
Alaska would be sweet.
I'd go to Alaska, too. Alaska would be sweet. What is your best piece of advice you've ever received?
Wow. A lot of advice over the
probably Tim from Tim,
years.
Your dad.
Man, the best piece of advice.
You don't have to say who it's from. You can just say something.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of one.
Just something good.
Advice. I think when I started anesthesia school, our director told us it's kind of, I don't know if it's corny or not, but he said like when we start in the OR, like to speak low, speak slow, and not say too much. And I think
I would ruin that motto.
But in any situation, I'm actually kind of introverted, so I tend to listen to a lot of people talk more than I just immediately engage in conversation with people.
That's probably why we get along great.
Yeah, because I just listen to Alyssa talk all day.
Okay. She does talk. Let's say.
But I think this day and age, people don't listen to each other. Like
I agree.
When they talk, like, I mean,
so true.
People will just like, there'll be two people talking and they will just like say whatever they want. They won't listen to what the other person's actually saying and respond.
Like not engaged, right?
Yeah, like you're not having an actual conversation like back and forth.
Just throwing out topics.
Yeah, so I think like really like actively listening to other people is such a good quality to have, and I think you can learn so much, and the quality of your conversations will be much better if you actually listen to what the other person's saying. And then I think also like, the speak low, slow, and don't say too much. Also like being humble in life.
Sure.
Like especially like with your profession and your atmosphere, you're around like a lot of, high level athletes and high level coaches and, former Olympians and stuff like that. But I think you do a pretty good job like engaging with like your fans, like the young kids that are like 10 years old or
I care. I really care about these people.
Right.
I mean, like not like in a like I don't love them,
right,
but like I care about like what they say to me and what they want to hear. It may not seem like that all the time, but
like yeah, we're all in this together. Everybody has their own struggles and challenges.
Right.
Like nobody's perfect.
Sure.
Like everybody started from ground zero at some point. So I think like, remembering that, like when somebody asks you a question or somebody needs help, like don't be like, you're not above them.
No, absolutely not. It doesn't matter what level you're at.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were invited to appear on Naked and Afraid, and you could only bring one of these items with you, which one would you choose? A machete, a tent, or a pot? Not to be confused with pot.
Where is the location?
Oh man, come on. Like let's just say somewhere jungly. And it has bears. Wait, is there bears in the jungle? There aren't bears in the jungle, are there? Okay, so let's say it's in the middle of the jungle and it's going to be wet and there's going to be...
Machete.
Okay. Wow. What is the best piece of backpacking gear you have?
A knifeless man is a lifeless man in the mountains, Alyssa.
Oh, okay. What is the best piece of backpacking gear you have and why?
Why are all these questions about backpacking?
I don't know, because you love backpacking. But what's the best piece? Go, fire.
What was the question? What's the best piece of what?
Dude, I said it twice.
Of what?
Backpacking gear. Like, what's your favorite? I can tell you what my favorite is.
Well, that's the
pocket rocket, because it boils water and you can make s'mores on it. Woo!
The best piece of backpacking gear.
Like, what's your best piece? Like, if you had to tell somebody, like, this is the best piece of backpacking gear that I have and is rad. You don't have one?
I mean, they all have their purpose.
Okay, whatever.
I mean,
Next question.
You have to have good boots.
What's your favorite? Oh, good boots?
Good boots. I mean, you're on your feet, like, all day, like...
I agree with that.
Walking, hiking, climbing, whatever. Or your backpack, I mean...
That's true.
And because that's on you the whole time,
yeah, because it has to fit you good.
Yep.
We all know that.
Yeah.
My first experience with Ben backpacking.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I know, but it's pretty funny because I got to tell one story.
Okay.
One story from it. So, first of all, I've never...
Which one?
Okay, Ben, calm down. So, we were in the Smoky Mountains for... The original trip was 6 nights, 7 days.
Yep.
And we were supposed to hike 52 miles.
Yeah.
And we were at day 2 or 3? Night 3, probably?
No, it was day 2.
Day 2. And Ben had to rethink the trip because Alyssa was dying, first of all. And every freaking day in that wilderness, it rained. And we're not talking like a pretty... like drizzle. We're talking like a torrential downpour that will literally sweep someone my size away.
It was awesome.
It was not awesome. We ate in the rain. We slept in the rain. We got dressed in the rain. And remember, when you're backpacking, you cannot eat in your tent. So you have to eat outside, away from the tent, because otherwise bears will smell your food and you will die. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's so true. So anyways, so we are on day probably 4, and we get to this campsite, and it's super cool, and it's sunny out, and finally we're drying off, and it was amazing. So nobody was there. Actually, this guy just packed up his tent and left, and I was like, oh man, his site is sweet. I was like, we should take it, definitely. It was this like, I mean, there was a ray of sunshine shining down on that spot. It was perfect. It was a flat ground, and I was like, all right, let's get it. So Ben and I started setting up the camp, and we set up the tent, and then we took all of our stuff out of our bags, took off our boots, put our Crocs on, and everything was drying. The sun was out, and Ben was on the other side of the campsite.
It was like this, the camp was like in this ravine.
Yeah.
And there was like this little stream going down through the middle.
Yep.
And
there was like 6 campsites on the hill, too.
Yeah.
Like 6 different campsites. And
but
then
like,
I
was probably like 100...
What were you doing?
It was like I was hanging a clothesline up.
Oh, yeah.
And we were hanging all of our clothes out.
Yeah, that's true.
To dry.
Yeah.
I was like probably 150 feet away from the tent. You were inside the tent.
No,
right?
I wasn't. I was by the I was by the fly.
Oh, okay.
I was
you
by
were hanging up stuff on the...
what was it called? Like the pulley system thing?
Yeah.
There's like this pulley system we hung the rain fly up on because we wanted to get it dry because it was a little wet, and the rain fly is what keeps the rain from coming in the tent. Otherwise, the rain comes in the tent. Yep. Well, speaking of rain, all of a sudden we hear this, and I'm like, oh.
Amazing sound effects.
Thank you. And I'm like, oh, that's gotta be wind. And all of a sudden, a drip falls on my frickin' face, and it just pours. I mean, talking like monsoon rain. And it was just super sunny, and then all of a sudden this just happened. So, like, it's not like we expected it or anticipated it. It just came on. And Ben was like, get the rain fly! And I was, like, panicking. So I got the rain fly, and I was trying so hard to get it down, and it was stuck. It was freaking stuck. And I remember Ben running across the thing, and he was like, just get in the tent. Get in the tent. Because he knew how frustrated. And mind you guys, this is, like, what? 4 months into our relationship at this point. Yeah. We're literally 4 months new. So Alyssa's true colors were shining on this trip.
She told me she'd gone backpacking before.
I know I did not. I told you I'd gone I told you I'd gone car camping.
Big difference.
Car camping. Anyway, so huge difference. And he should have known that. So I get in the tent, and Ben has the rain fly, and he starts putting it over the tent. And I'm in the tent. All of a sudden, it starts pooling water in our tent. And I was like, Ben, it's pooling water in here. And he's like, get out now. Like, this is, like, amazing. If somebody would have had this on camera, it's just, like, a classic moment. It was
can't
like...
make this stuff up.
No, you can't. I got out of the tent immediately. We picked the tent up and started moving it across to the other side where there was more campsites on the hill that I was just talking about. We moved it over there. As we're moving this tent, there's a huge mud downward like slope full of mud.
The trail was just mud.
It was terrible. And I slipped and I fell completely like on my chest, in my hand. I got up and it was full of mud. And that was the moment Alyssa Ritchey said her first swear word in front of Benjamin Irvine. I was like, I am effing over this trip. I am done. Take me home. I cannot do this anymore. But anyways, that was like a little summary of like our little camping or backpacking experience.
One little story from it.
Yeah, one story. I mean, mind you guys, you're carrying like 30-pound bag on your back, like 25-pound, 30-pound.
You were a broken person at that moment.
I was a broken person.
Your soul was broken.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, he's super, oh man, it was hard. And I'm going to be the first one to say it was hard, but it was one of the best experiences of my life.
It was an epic trip.
It was an epic trip, to say the least.
Always is down there.
Okay, so that brings us to our next question.
Yep.
And there's only 2 more questions.
Okay.
And you have to answer these.
Okay.
Honestly. What is your favorite Alyssa moment?
Wow. every moment.
Okay. I'm not that cool all the time.
What is my favorite Alyssa moment? Oh my gosh. It's gotta be when we're out backpacking, because you're just like, you are out of your element. There's no lattes. There's no
lattes.
There's no barbells. There's no, there's no shower. I mean, you don't
get sleep.
You're just out in the wilderness, and like,
oh, man. It's true.
It's gotta be. I mean, those are just some classic moments. You're just like, you're tired. You're cold. You're hungry.
Get up, you don't get sleep. Like, that's the thing. You don't get sleep. You get up, like, super. Ben freaking turns over to me when we're in this. I just wanted to sleep. And at this time, I did not know that I had bilateral carpal tunnel syndrome. So I was numbing up all night. And I was constantly waking up. And you're not sleeping on a bed, people. You're sleeping on a freaking mattress that's as thin as, like, a piece of paper. And you might as well just lay on the ground because it doesn't work. The freaking mattresses are the air mat. What are they called? Air.
Yeah,
they're an air mattress.
Backpacking air
like
mattress.
They're like an inch thick, and they have a little bit.
You blow it up with your own lungs.
Yeah, you blow it up with your own, air. So, anyways, you just don't sleep. And then Ben, it's like as soon as I fall asleep, Ben turns over to me and he's like, "You ready to get up?" And I'm like, "It's 4 freaking o'clock in the morning. Of course I'm not ready to get up." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And he gets up.
Just like that. Just the way she said it, yeah.
And I get up and I'm miserable. And then probably the first 2 hours of the morning I want to kill somebody. And then after that the sun comes out and I'm like, okay, this is better. Like, I'm awake. You don't get your normal coffee. It's like that instant coffee you pour in like a cup and it disintegrates.
It's pretty good.
It's like Turkmenistan coffee. It's like a cube. Okay. Throw it in and it, what is it called?
Better than nothing.
Breaks. It's just gross. Anyways, it's gross. But I do go backpacking. That is not, I've gone 3 times with Ben and we've had incredible experiences. Yes, it's hard for me, but it's okay. It's allowed to be hard for me. Frick. Okay. How about
big tough weightlifter?
So your favorite Alyssa moment kind of some days you want to punch each other. It's okay. It's normal. It's a good relationship if you want to punch each other.
Oh, okay.
Weirdest.
I wouldn't define it like that.
Weirdest Alyssa moment. See, you already gave your favorite. That's like
weirdest.
Yeah, your favorite was supposed to be something cute, but you gave something like awful.
Oh, something cute, huh?
So weirdest Alyssa moment. What was your weirdest Alyssa moment? Don't go off topic.
Weirdest Alyssa moment. Wow.
I know that's pretty hard too.
Silence.
I know.
I don't know.
All right.
I can't think. Can you think of one? Does one pop in your head?
I don't have a weirdest Alyssa moment, but I always have weird moments. I can't even.
How do you define weird?
Like this morning when I was like, I could see my breath.
Oh, when it was 55 degrees out
and
we were drinking coffee and you're like,
I could see my breath.
You're like, it's cold.
It's like 64 out. Ben's like, yeah, that would be called humidity. I was like, oh, really?
I I don't know.
I would have to say one of
Maybe-
the funniest stories that we've had together is probably Chad Wesley Smith will love.
Everybody loves the story.
Everybody loves his story. So when we first started dating, let's just talk a little backstory real quick. My parents never farted in front of each other, ever. We're talking ever in the 20 years they were married. Maybe one slip, and my dad would try to catch my mom. But if they heard me telling you the story, first of all, they would just obliterate me. They never did. So when I first met Ben, I was absolutely terrified to fart in front of him. So I would hold my farts in, and I would get these tremendous, horrible, aching stomach aches. And there was one day he made me this salad, and I blamed it on the avocado that was on the salad. And I was up in my room.
Well, it's also the first 4 months we dated, you were in Myrtle Beach, I was in Ohio, and I was flying down for a week at a time.
Yep.
Once a month to come see you. So it's not like I was going home that night. I was at your place in Myrtle Beach.
That's true.
For a week.
Right. So so that's probably an important detail
Yeah.
to lead in. So like he came down like 4 times in Myrtle Beach, and he would stay for like a week. And like I said, this is like the first 4 months we were dating.
Mm-hmm.
And the first week he came down, I didn't fart in front of him like at all. Like I just couldn't. Like I was terrified. My stomach hurt.
Could have went to the bathroom.
I couldn't even go to the bathroom. As soon as I got in the bathroom, I got super shy and I couldn't fart. So I had like this fart anxiety when he was down here. So fast forward to the next time
I'm
he
like,
came
why
down.
does this girl always have stomach aches every time I come down here?
And well, okay, so
one night she came home from work, and I had already planned dinner and like had these nice salads made with all these veggies and avocado in it. I think I made grilled chicken or something.
yeah, it's like bacon and grilled chicken in
Yeah.
it. Mm-hmm. And I was like anyway, so
You were getting off your high-fat diet
whatever, screw you.
and learning how to eat vegetables that week.
Okay,
She was only eating 400 grams of fat per day.
so true. It's so true, though. Oh my gosh, there's so many weird stories about me. You guys just don't know. It's great.
400 grams of fat, 800 grams of carbs.
Anyways. So I went up
7
to my
grams of
room
protein.
and I was like, I have this terrible stomach ache. I was in like the fetal position where I was just like holding my legs, and I was like, oh my gosh, my stomach hurts so bad. And he's like, okay, well, like what do you think it's from? Like he's trying to be all nice and secretive when he truly knows all I need to do is fart or poop or whatever. And he's like,
I see you, nurse. I know.
yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to hide it like a little turd.
Everyone's human.
I know. Okay.
Bodily functions.
So anyways, so I was like, maybe I should go outside and take a walk. So I did. I went outside and took a walk, and I literally, this is the best part. This is not the best part. I literally outside, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm on the ground rolling up and down like a hollow body rock and trying to fart, trying to make my stomach tense enough to fart, and I couldn't. Nothing came out. So I went back upstairs after walking for 10 minutes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gone too long. Like he's gonna be totally knowing what I'm trying to do out here. And finally I walked back, and he's like, any luck? And I was like, no, my stomach still kills me. He's like, okay, let's get in the car and let's go to the store and get some Tums. So we did. Got in the store and got some Tums, and that was that helped. The next morning I felt a lot better. But then it was the 4th time he came down. It was the 4th trip he made down to Myrtle Beach. And that was the moment it all changed. I had a stomach ache after dinner again. And Ben looked at me. I've never seen someone so scary. And I've never been so terrified in my life. But he looked at me and I go, oh my gosh, I have a stomach ache. He comes at me like a bullet out of a gun. And he grabs me, puts me in this tiny ball, balls me up as hard as he can, and I just rip the biggest fart of my life. And I've never laughed or felt so free in my life. I fell off the bed. And Ben, I've never seen Ben laugh so hard in our relationship, except the time that I had my first fart in front of him. So, just letting people know that is probably my most funny moment of our relationship, and it's probably one of the best stories. But yeah, now I fart. I have no trouble farting, but too much.
No more stomach aches.
No more stomach aches, though. I can tell you that. So yeah, that's it. That brings us to the conclusion of this podcast. We all know that you can't find Ben anywhere.
You can find me in like these days probably OR 14 or OR 18.
That's the operating room in the hospital.
So if you're there and you're finding me, that probably means you have a serious vascular disorder or neurosurgical problem, which isn't good. So hopefully you don't find me.
So yeah, I am happy to have you on today. It's always a pleasure. I mean, I see you every day. It's enough, but I am lucky to have you in my life.
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions for me, you can contact me through Alyssa.
Oh gosh, no, please don't.
No, seriously, you can. It's cool.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Don't contact me. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to the Bitty Strong podcast. I finally came up with a name. Thanks to Chad Wesley Smith for helping me out with that. And I hope you guys love this one. If you do, leave a rating and a review if you would like to take the extra time to write something cool about me. Or if you hated it, go ahead and say you hated it. Just kidding. Do not put that. So thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you next Monday.
See ya.
Bye.